Movies of Epic Fail, Episode 4, Troy. Okay, this one's pretty freaking epic scene. The fact that it's supposedly based on Homer's The Iliad, and yet half of the story is mysteriously missing. Okay, so we have the simple things here, you know, Paris goes to Troy where... No, Paris goes to Sparta where everybody's dressed like they're from the first scene of Phantom of the Opera in their Hannibal costumes, and he steals Helen of Troy. Apparently she's the face that launched 1,000 ships. Now, this girl's pretty, but I would give her, like, 250 ships. So anyway, he kidnaps her, and he takes her back to Troy, and Eric Bana's all like, what the fuck did you do? And then Menelaus goes outside to Agamemnon, and he's like, I want to get her back. So that's the basic story, you know, get her back, defeat Troy, blah, blah, blah. However, half of the ideas of the story are missing. Like, oh, I don't know, where's all of the Trojan royal family? Where's Hecuba? Where's Polydorus? Where's Cassandra, of all people? But we'll get to that later. So then Agamemnon's like, oh crap, I need Achilles, played by posing, preening Brad Pitt. And what they tend to forget about Achilles is that he's swaying both ways. And so the first scene, they see him sleeping with two girls. Two girls. Yeah, right, sure. Anyway, so then Odysseus says, okay, I'm gonna go get Achilles. So he goes to get Achilles, and he sees him fighting with his cousin, Patroclus. Cousin? Bullshit. They were lovers, and everyone knows they were lovers, but this is Hollywood, so they had to make it PC. So anyway, he's like, I don't want to fight, and his mom says, you know, you'll be all immortalized and stuff, and he says, okay, I'll go fight, after much posing. So after they pose, they go, and there's 1,000 CGI ships. Oh, the horror at the CGI ships. So they go to the CGI city on their CGI ships, and then they attack the CGI beach with their CGI weapons. And then they're attacking people, and then they go up and they find Briseis, who's pretty, and she's apparently a virgin. Yeah, right. So she's a virgin, and they kidnap her, and then they cut off the head of Apollo, and then Eric Bana's like, hey, I'm gonna kill you, Achilles, and Achilles is like, go fuck your wife, who has a baby. So then they leave, and Peter O'Toole is going, well, I've never seen a war fought for love before, so go for it, numbnuts. And so Paris is like, okay, I'm gonna go for it, I'm gonna fight for Helen, even though I'm a huge, huge pussy. So anyway, they go and they fight, and he's like, you know what, okay, how about I go up against Menelaus? Now, he goes up against Menelaus, and Paris, instead of dying like he does in the book against Menelaus, he goes and crawls up Hector's leg. For Helen, mind you. This is his big show of power, crawling up Hector's leg. So then they fight, and they burn, and they kill, and all that horrible stuff happens, and then Menelaus dies, and then Achilles puts on his, you know, little costume and goes, Hector! Hector! Outside the walls, and then they fight and pose and bounce around, and then Eric Bana dies, and then Peter O'Toole goes that night to Achilles' tent, and he's all like emoting and crying, give me my son back, and Brad Pitt's just like, I'm pretty. So then after he's being pretty, he gets his body back, and they give him a funeral, and then they do the Trojan horse thing. Of course, Cassandra isn't there to foretell the Trojan horse, or for no one to believe her. Oops, whatever happened to her? I don't know, she got left on the cutting room floor. So anyway, they go and they all fight, and then apparently Agamemnon gets killed. Wrong! Agamemnon dies, and Paris kills Achilles. Wrong! He does not, because Paris is already dead. So, but they make it because it's a romantic story, and then they're supposed to make it that he dies by Paris, and then Helen runs away with Andromache and the baby, but Andromache and the baby get caught, and the baby dies, in case you don't know that. So yeah, this is a wonderful, wonderful fuck-up of history, and good literature turned into a crappy movie. One thing about this movie is that it tries so hard for the Oscar contender that it's just funny. We actually did The Trojan Women my senior year in high school, and that, my friends, is some historical accuracy. Bye-bye.